Hogan #1 contender if he wins at Bash at the Beach. If he loses, he has to retire. Do you like the stakes of that?
Yeah, because we're confident that we're getting rid of Hogan, and there's no way he's going to become the #1 contender at Bash at the Beach. Yes.
With that, right? I mean, those are some big stakes. You're promising some surprises. Do you think that's almost too much? Because even Flair's match, when he wrestles David Flair later on in the evening, his match is if Flair loses, he has to retire. So you got basically Hogan and Flair here. If they either one of them loses, basically you got 2 retirement matches going on.
Bro, we're trying to get rid of them. Like, that's the storyline. It's the new blood versus the Millionaires Club. I mean, that's the whole storyline. So no, it's not like we're just having a random retirement match. The whole storyline is we're trying to get rid of these guys.
Do you think, though, it makes it less special that both of them are on the same card? You know what I mean?
What difference does it make if it's less special? They're paying to watch the pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? So either you're paying to see Flair get retired or you're paying to see Hogan get retired. I don't know how that's hurting you in the pocketbook. You know what I mean? I really don't know that to me is a wrestling mark thing. When you think about a casual fan, like, holy shit, one of them's going to be retired. I mean, that's what you're thinking. And if you're a fan of Flair or a fan of Hogan, you know, either one, you want to see what happens. So I think it's perfectly fine.
Here's a crazy question. Do you think that Hogan and Flair were thinking that you were trying to get rid of them? Like, I know it's a storyline, it's wrestling, but do you think they turned the work into a shoot?
I know they were. 1,000% I know they were. Absolutely, yes.
So they were turning work into a shoot in their own minds.
Absolutely, bro. Freaking Hogan has said the story of, oh, brother, somebody told me, and I know he's your boy, I always stick up for him, bro. People always say to me, why do you always stick up for Hogan? And I say, because I probably wouldn't have had a job if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan. Let's be honest. But you know, Hogan has said on the record, oh, bro, people told me when Russo came in, you know, he said that his goal was to get rid of all the old timers. No, bro, I never said that. That was never my goal. That was never my plan. But that is certainly what they convinced themselves of. Certainly.
You know what's funny? Hogan, he always says, "Don't work yourself into a shoot, brother." You know what I mean? He always that's his line. Yeah,
absolutely, bro. No question about it. Bro, the whole Bash at the Beach thing was like. The whole Bash at the Beach thing was, and people don't freaking understand it because marks don't understand business. Dirt sheet writers don't understand business. The whole thing behind Bash at the Beach was Hulk Hogan got paid every time he appeared on Nitro. He got paid. So Hulk Hogan wanted to win the belt. Why did Hulk Hogan want to win the belt? Because he knew if he won the belt, he'd have to be on Nitro every week. So he wanted to win the belt because every time he's on Nitro, it's cha-ching. That was the whole deal behind that. And, you know, I knew that. I understood that. And, you know, I didn't want him to win the belt. That wasn't the plan. That wasn't the direction we were going. But that's what it was all about, bro. He knew if he had that belt, he was going to be on TV every week and continue to make big money.
He's a Babe Ruth of wrestling. He's a god. But even I talked to Sullivan about that. He said Hogan was more about Hogan and like him going to movie projects. He's the champion. Him being on TV more, getting more money. Even when he lost to Luger on Nitro, which was an awesome moment. It was so great. Sullivan made such a good point about it. And I said, wow, that is so true. It wasn't to combat whatever WWF was doing at the time with SummerSlam. And nobody even was paying attention to WWF at that point in '97. He was saying Hogan knew that if he gets back to, you know, Road Wild, if you will, more people will watch the show in order to pay because he got pay-per-view points. So if there's a rematch for the title they just lost, he goes, and how much more money did he make? He's like, we probably got a 50,000 bump by. It was, you know, 200 some thousand. He probably got a bump. He goes, and he got points from them. Like, wow, so smart. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
And let me tell you something, John. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, of course not. Yeah,
there's got to do what he's got to do. Yeah. The dude is a businessman first. Yep. There's no. That's why I didn't have heat with him. I didn't have heat with the career. I understood. I know business. I knew why he was doing what he was doing. But at that time, it just wasn't best for the company as a whole. That's all.
Yep. and obviously wasn't good the storyline either. It was kind of
Right.
more Jared and Booker T and everything else
Yeah.
going on. So yeah, but that's a different story for a different day. We have covered that in the past, though. If anybody wants